What is up, everybody? Clint Lamb with Cover Crimson here to talk about Alabama's incredible comeback. Down 17 points, everything, nothing is going your way. Absolutely nothing. And Alabama figures out a way to not only come back, but get up multiple scores multiple times in the game. Absolutely incredible. Let's start with Connor Talty. Let's start with Tate Sandell in the kicking game. Obviously, I wouldn't have thought that we'd be talking about special teams. And if I did think we were going to be talking about special teams, I would have thought we were talking about how it lost Alabama the game. And yes, there were some not great moments on special teams, but Connor Talty makes both of his field goal attempts. Tate Sandell, the reigning Lou Groza Award winner, 1 for 3. 1 for 3, 2 misses, critical misses late in the football game that kept Oklahoma from being able to close the gap to one score. Absolutely incredible. I'm still collecting myself. Every time I get on here, it's like I want to come. I mean, there's just so much like adrenaline that's starting to come. Just give me a few minutes. We'll collect ourselves together. We'll go ahead and start getting some of these comments. Guys, this is going to be incredible. This is going to be a lot of fun. Yes, I'm going to be positive, guys. I saw Jones somewhere up here said, leave that negative shit at home. Well, I did. I'm in Athens, Alabama, at my parents' house, getting ready for Christmas, and was able to watch that one with the fam, and it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys had a blast watching it too. Some of these early comments, people got on here. I had the post-game show already locked and loaded, and some people went ahead and hopped on here when they were down 17-0 and made some not so great comments. And then Alabama makes a comeback. So those people, I'm sure they like to delete it, but here we are. Not bad, Brad. I'll take it. Absolutely. Jonesy, they just came back from 17-0 and won. Keep that negative shit at the house. Brother, you're right. You're right. I mean, I don't know what to say. Well, I'm sure we'll address some of the things. You know, I'm going to point out what they need to work on. They got Indiana next, but tonight, folks, we're celebrating. We're celebrating. John Lukes, appreciate you being here. Great comeback. I almost broke my TV. There were a couple of moments where I really felt like it was a break a TV moment, but here we are. Great job by the guys. And we're going to be getting into the conversation, talking about stats, how guys performed. We're letting everybody get in here. We're only a few minutes in. I'm getting with some of these comments. We are one way to get your comment guaranteed that's going to get read. Any questions are going to get addressed. Super chats. That's how we do it. And I mean, there's a lot to celebrate. I want to hear what all of you guys have to say. I'll try to get to as many non-super chats as possible. That's the surefire way to get in here and get your stuff heard. Perry, appreciate the $10 super chat. The team showed heart, can't be called soft. Defense can be nasty when unleashed. Cuevas was missed, and it showed. Didn't like early gameplay, but adjustments flipped the game. Need to target 2 and 5 earlier. Jet sweeps. I feel like Ryan Grubb got into a rhythm there for a while. I feel like Ty Simpson got into a rhythm there for a while. Still wasn't, there were times where it's like, especially when they got up, I feel like they got a little conservative with the play calling, but when they really had to have it, they made plays. And I mean, give like Daniel Hill, he had a 30-yard chunk run. Once again, things that Alabama has not been known for this season. Chunk yardage on the ground. I mean, look at the first matchup versus this matchup. I mean, you had the block punt by Alabama. You had the turnover by Alabama that was forced by Alabama on John Mateer. He'll give you some. He'll give you opportunities. We talked about that all week, and Alabama capitalized on those opportunities. But Daniel Hill was overall, 8 carries for 13 yards outside of the 130-yard run, but he did have the touchdown. I thought when he started running like a 245-pound running back and he went trying to go up and over people, he was lowering the shoulder pads and being physical, especially down there on the goal line. I thought he played well, and he did what Alabama needed him to do, especially late when they needed it. Give Lotzier Brooks a ton of credit. Guys, Lottie Brooks, man, 5 catches for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns. on 7 targets. Isaiah Horton led the team with 8 targets, but Lottie Brooks was right behind him. Josh Cuevas had 6. It was great to see him back out there. It was great. Jeremy did have the drop, but he also had one of the most amazing catches in Alabama football history. Let's just call it what it is. Was it Tyrone Prothrow level? Maybe not, but I mean, guys, it was pretty close. It was pretty close. That was fun. Just so many guys making plays when they really needed it. Yes, Ron Williams only had 1 catch for 5 yards. Yes, he had, a really rough drop. Jeremy had a drop. Isaiah Horton had a drop. Let's look at the drops and see just where. I have to pull it up in a second. I don't think it's showing it, but yeah, just an incredible game. An incredible game. Appreciate all you guys for being here. Appreciate the $1.99 super chat, John. Winston, Gray, Roll Tide, Clint. The offense needed this. It absolutely needed this. What a great point. Alabama had 260 total yards in this football game. 260. Oklahoma's offense had 362. But what do they keep telling us, guys? It doesn't matter. Yardage doesn't matter. Yardage proves nothing. It's all about the turnovers. It's all about, special teams wins. Alabama, I tweeted it early. Alabama special teams has not, it's hurt Alabama a lot this season. And it seemed to have hurt Alabama early in this football game, and particularly when Lottie Brooks elected to take out that early one, ends up getting tackled on like the 17 or 18-yard line, bad field position when it's a very important game as far as field position is concerned. And yet the special teams really started to come through. Connor Talty came through. You had some nice returns by Cole Adams. I don't know what Dijon Lee was doing when he decided to take that, pick up that one that was short, but I mean, he ended up getting some yardage out of it, so that was great. But the offense needed this, guys. The offense absolutely needed this performance. Ty Simpson needed this performance. Now, granted, I mean, the accuracy and the ball placement wasn't always great, especially, vertically. But the fact that he went into a hostile environment again, he has done it numerous times this season. He did it in Athens. He looked better in Athens overall. This kind of felt a little Missouri-esque as far as his performance. Like, he did some really good things, but he also had some struggles. But this is the best he's probably looked in a while. So that was really good to see. It's amazing what happens when you give a guy a couple of weeks to get healthy when he's been a little bit banged up. And a lot of these guys have been banged up. So really proud of Ty. Really proud of just the offense in general. We're going to get EG in here. I got to invite her. I love the fact that she didn't make the trip to Norman, because that means she can hop on here with me and we can hash this out together. Because, I mean, sometimes I need some time to process. I feel like I'm all over the place, but this is about to be a lot of fun, guys. We appreciate everybody for being here. No doubt about it. Let me send this invite to her. We're doing this on the fly. We're live. This is fun. All right. So let's get that sent. All right, guys, we're ready to rock and roll. Let's see. Jonesy, appreciate the $4.99 super chat. I know we nitpick, but this team showed us all season that they don't quit. Maybe we didn't appreciate that enough. Jonesy, I will say you're always bringing the heat as far as the takes are concerned, and I completely agree with you. It was a continuation of the Georgia game in the first quarter. It was ugly. 3 and outs on offense, defense. Obviously Oklahoma was getting solid field position. Once again, they were turning it into points, though. You get down double-digit points. You get down 17 points. You get down 3 scores, guys. Like, I mean, that's not 2 scores anymore. 16's 2. You carry over into the 3-score range, and yet Alabama continued to fight and claw, and figure out a way to get back into this football game. And not only did they do that in a timely fashion, they did it with, the offense starting to get things going, the defense starting to get stops and applying pressure on John Mateer and stopping the run game for Oklahoma. Yes, Mateer did have some success on the ground, but overall, as far as the traditional run game, they were solid in that area. And not only did they come back from 17 points down, tied it up, was able to go into the half, and then they started out with a poor offensive possession to start the second half. And yet, despite that, they still were able to continue to fight and scratch and claw, and they got a 10-point lead. And from that point forward, this is what we talked about all week. And I thought it would need to come early. I kept saying all week, you've got to be able to hit them early in this football game. Maybe you get up by 10 points. Maybe you can get up multiple scores, 10, 14, whatever. And then all the pressure for John Mateer, it shifts to him. It's no longer Ty. Ty gets to play a little bit more loose. He's playing with a lead. And, Mateer, he hadn't been really put under duress like that. He hadn't been put in those pressure situations. And so once they were able to do that, yes, Mateer made some great plays. I mean, he overall, the flashes are there, and he's going to make some miraculous plays, but he also makes some boneheaded plays, and he absolutely did that in this football game, and Alabama took advantage. So great job by them. And Jonesy, once again, appreciate the super chat. I completely agree with you, brother. We're here to celebrate, and to do that, we're going to be bringing in EG.
Hello, you guys. Oh, my goodness. Woo. I don't know about y'all. I've lost some years off my life. I have a few gray hairs, and my heart rate is just starting to come down a little bit. How are you doing, Clint?
Same. Yeah, it's always hard for me to get myself back under control and then hop on here. I know I really try to look at the game as analytically as possible, and I try to use my brain and not my heart. But in games like this, when they're playing poorly, the brain, the heart takes over a little bit, and then when they make miraculous comebacks and everything else, the heart also takes control. So yeah, I'm right there with you. It was a rough start to the game, but 17 points down, and you start figuring out a way to make a comeback and make this, do some of the things that Alabama was able to do offensively, defensively. Special teams contributed. As much as I've given the special teams a lot of flack, and I personally feel like it's been warranted. But when I do that, I always want to make sure that I come back and I give the praise when it is warranted as well. And across the board, despite the fact that it started off pretty rough for the special teams as well, multiple guys, including Connor Talty, I'll continue to single him out and mention him by name because we had no problem going after him when he wasn't doing well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, it's just what a fun game, EG. What a fun game.
So much fun. And I think the word to sum up this team, you guys, in one word is resilient. From week one until now, we saw so much resiliency. Clint, you touched on it. Down 17 on the road, hostile environment that was pulling out all of the stops to make that atmosphere what it needed to be for a first-round college football playoff game, which I do think we need to extend to the quarterfinals, in my opinion. I think that we need to have this experience more. With that being said, though, Alabama comes into a hostile environment. They go down early, and it was such a brutal watch. Yet, despite it all, here we are getting to chat about an Alabama win. And like I said, one word to sum it up, it has to be resilient.
That's a great word to use. Completely agree. And let's start talking about some of these individual performances. I've already touched on it a little bit. Just the fact that how things started off, they couldn't get anything going offensively, no run game to speak of. Now, granted, it got better. The run game got better. It got a little bit more effective. But, the fact that defensively couldn't put any pressure on John Mateer, just really felt like that he was kind of sitting back there and had all day. I loved the adjustments that Kane Wommack made. He started saying, hey, let's start putting, if we got to add some bodies here, and I understand the logic because you probably go in thinking, a pretty young offensive line, 2 true freshmen and a redshirt freshman. Our guys probably straight up, we should be able to win pretty consistently rushing 4. That clearly wasn't working. And so they were willing to make the adjustments, add the extra bodies, understand that you were going to leave yourself vulnerable at times in the back end, and Mateer definitely made him pay for it some. But overall, fantastic job. And Keon Keeley, by the way, I want to mention this. Look, first of all, great. I mean, the sack, I know he's left unblocked, but good job, closing, getting Mateer on the ground. Not everybody was as successful getting him on the ground. He's a tough guy to bring down. So give him credit there. But this is an example, guys. I understand why people say it because I understand it's frustrating, but this is why you drop your edges sometimes in the coverage because he came very close to getting an interception. Mateer didn't see it, didn't know that he had dropped. And with that 6'5" length with those tree trunk arms, he almost got himself an interception. And man, that would have been crazy talking about him getting a sack and an interception for a guy who's a rotational piece, and they had to rely on him a lot with LT Overton out in this football game. And Jordan Renaud, I thought early, I didn't think he was playing great. We ended up seeing a lot of Keon Keeley. I'm interested to see the snap counts. Wouldn't be shocked at all if Keeley ended up having more snaps than Renaud. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but definitely something to monitor. That was very encouraging to see, EG.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, too, I want to touch on your thoughts on the adjustments that Coach Womack did make, because they had to happen, right? We were all sitting at home watching this game unfold, and it seemed, is he going to make the adjustments? And he did. And I think that really speaks volumes. But also, you mentioned there is an LT Overton there. So you have to have guys that step up in an uncomfortable situation where you're already down. And so I think that seeing those adjustments be made was huge. And I'm excited, too, to see, it feels like we saw the Alabama from the first half of the season there in the second half, and really those middle eight. I keep harping on that middle eight. And oftentimes you hear that term, and I'm sure all of you guys, watching this know that, but if you can win those middle eight last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half, typically that's who's going to win the game. And Alabama did such a good job of doing that, despite how the game may have started, how it did start.
Yeah. And I mean, what I love about it is I made a tweet. I call it like I see it. So it is very emotional reaction. A lot of it is both good and bad. I like to have fun with it. I love doing it on a message board, and we're definitely in the process of getting the Cover Crimson message board back up and going. And we're going to revamp some things. We just had to take some time off of it. But one thing I'll say is, like, I tweeted out, and I was talking about there was just a lot in this football game that didn't seem to go Alabama's way, and their inability to put teams away. It felt like they were
called it before.
Say what?
Playing with the food. Sometimes
that's right.
That's right.
And they were up by 10, and it's like, man, if they had a chance to put the game away, and they were unable to do it, and then Oklahoma goes down there and they score a touchdown. And it's like, here we go, same thing that we've seen. And they said, no, not today. We're gonna get back up by double digits. And we're also going to make life on John Mateer in that offense. We're going to continue to make it, problematic. That yes, you would have loved to have seen them run away with it even more. Yes, it could have ended up being a one-score game. Final score had Tate Sendell made either one of those field goals, but Alabama very much took control, and they took the fight to Oklahoma. And considering how the game started and the fact that they didn't come out with that fire, I wouldn't say they didn't come out with that fire, but just obviously things were not. There was so much, even like John Mateer putting the football on the ground early. They had a chance to get on it as a recovery. They were unable to do so. And then it's like, man, if they just could have gotten on that, they could have really shifted momentum. They didn't do the things they needed to do early, but the fact that they were once again able to get to the sidelines and really start to, there was never faltering belief. It was all, hey, let's continue to go to work. Let's figure this stuff out. And they came back from 17 points down. Now, what was it? 27 straight points, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, incredible job.
Yeah. I think too, what's really important to point out is that, they made their own momentum shifts too. That's really important in a game like that. And we often talk about how Kalen DeBoer struggled on the road last season. I think if you guys are okay with it, I think we can kind of put that to bed slightly, that they have found ways to win on the road, especially considering that was definitely a sore spot from last season.
That's 100% correct. Great point, EG. That's a great point. Let's get to these super chats, because this one cracked me up. T Boozer, appreciate the $4.99 super chat. The big loser tonight, the University of Michigan. Look, I told everybody once again on Twitter before the game, I was disappointed, because it's like, I feel like it was set up where either Alabama loses, and then it's like you're dealing with an Alabama loss, or Alabama wins. And a lot of these people who are making these outlandish claims, saying this is last game, wearing an Alabama A on his hat, and he's going to be on the hot seat if he loses this game, and all this, what I feel like is nonsense. Those people were never going to be held accountable, because if Alabama wins, then he's probably sticking around. So there's no, I mean, it was disappointing to see as far as, some people running with some of these narratives. But at the same time, you're right. The guaranteed big loser tonight is the University of Michigan. EG, you got anything on that?
I will say that, as I said to you about putting to bed the discussions of Alabama not being able to win on the road, I think we can finally put that to bed as well. And I have been asked about that so many times. And now tonight, I think we can comfortably say Coach DeBoer, just like he told us, you guys, in Monday's press conference, that he was going to be the head coach at Alabama next year. Now I think Michigan fans, if you're somehow in the chat, if you are, that's okay. Make sure you're subscribed too, just like everyone else here. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button while you're chatting. It's done. It's over. And thank goodness for that.
I don't know. I think we need to ask him a couple more times just to be sure. Because apparently
a few
you're
more
not allowed to.
Points.
Yeah. Ask it in a different way and see if you get a different answer.
Okay, well, I'll add that to the notes.
Kelly Hart, appreciate the $4.99 super chat. Deep ball and big run on the same drive, 100%. I mean, once again, the offense, and it's crazy because how the game started was maybe not to the extent that we all thought, but it was kind of more on pace for what we were expecting. It's a hostile environment. The crowd was absolutely rocking. It's, Oklahoma's great defensively. They had R. Mason Thomas back. So we're all sitting there watching this game and we're thinking it's going to be tough for Alabama to move the football. And we thought a massive chunk of this game was going to need to fall on the defense's shoulders. And I will give them credit. I understand the points that were given up, but overall, I thought the defense continued to play pretty well and made big plays when they needed to. But the offense really started to get things going. And considering how rough it was, I mean, I don't remember how many, it was like 17 yards in the first quarter, something like that.
Yeah, it was pitiful.
And granted, 260 yards, a lot of people are going to look at that and say that's not impressive. To me, based off of the fact that you exited the first quarter with, like less than 20 yards or whatever it was, I think 260. Yeah, I'll take it all day. 240 yards. I mean, if you add another, that's an average of, that's 240 yards, 3 quarters with 80 yards. So if you would have put, that's 320 yards if you to extrapolate that over 4 quarters, I'll take that all day. So I was very pleased with the offensive performance, especially given Oklahoma's defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw I want to get to a comment in there. The sideline interference call. What was that?
What are we doing? Okay. I say that. Did it not fit? And I understand the ref's supposed to have the entire lane, but man, he was hugging the inside of that thing.
He was hugging that inside lane. And also, where's the warning?
That's if it was something where it's like the guy's standing right in the middle of that lane and you run into him. But first of all, he hit and spun. He didn't fall down. But
fall down.
I feel like that warranted a warning. But once again, some things didn't break Alabama's way. I mean, there were situations where they had to deal with some adversity and Bray Hubbard on the pass interference that allowed Oklahoma to extend the drive, which then led to a touchdown. And they cut it to 3, and now the crowd's right back in it. It's like, oh boy, once again, they responded. They continued to respond, and they do it, despite the fact there are some limitations with the offense. I liked the fact that there for a while, they really seemed to embrace the fact. It felt like the first time in forever that at the beginning of the game, they did force some runs. And then there was a period late where they're trying to, I think, run clock a little bit, and they try to force some runs again. But other than that, I really liked how they kind of broke out of that. And they just went, it's the first time that I can remember really since much early in the season, probably even I would say Georgia on the road, where they just said, you know what, the run game's not working.
We're going to do something else.
We're going to start just throwing the football. And now granted, Ty Simpson finished with 29 pass attempts, so it's not like he threw 40 plus times. But overall, he ended up they ended up kind of leaning on his arm a little bit, allowed him to make some plays. And then some of the things in the run game started to open up. They kind of went the reverse throw to set up the run, and that started being a little bit more successful. I liked the offensive strategy there.
Give me your thoughts on Ty tonight. What did you see from him? What were your thoughts overall?
You know what? There were some rough moments, and I thought from a ball placement standpoint, it wasn't all great, especially on some of those deep throws. It felt even more off. Like before, on a lot of those deep balls and stuff, it was a lot of overthrowing, and maybe there was some compensation there where he's really trying too hard not to overthrow, and it caused him to underthrow a little bit. But overall, I thought he started to show some command. I thought he did a much better job. Now, granted, there were some times, especially early, where he's not seeing the pressure. Oklahoma does a great job of disguising. They really do. It's very, very difficult. And so that's not an offensive line problem. A lot of people put it on the offensive line, but that's really Ty not seeing it. But it's understandable in some of those instances why he's not seeing it. I'm like, hey, would like to see a little bit more awareness in the pocket. That was probably my biggest gripe with that.
Okay.
But I feel like that he really did a much better job of overcoming some early adversity. He had some opportunities. He actually, I think his first 2 throws, I think they were pretty solid. And the first one that was the first drop to Isaiah Horton on that 3rd down where they had to punt, it's like that ball was put in the spot where Isaiah Horton should have brought it in. He didn't, and it's like once again, Todd didn't let things spiral. It didn't look great there for a while, but his ability to individually respond, and then the team's like it felt like the team followed Ty's lead with that. So I was definitely encouraged.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, as you guys are continuing to filter in here, one, we are so happy to be discussing this with you. Let us know what your thoughts are in the chat. You guys are already doing a great job of that. And if you want us to for sure get to your chat, we do the super chats, and that ensures that your comment is going to be talked about. So we love to do that. And then also make sure that you're subscribed and liking. And Clint, okay, let's go into what else? What's our next thing? What do we want to talk about?
Let's get some of these super chats. Yeah, okay. Brandon from DC, appreciate the $9.99 super chat. That's how you finish, Clint. The offense needs to use Oklahoma's sugar huddle strategy against Indiana, get 2 and 5 touches early, and continue improving. Lotzie is him. RMFT. Yes. Once again, Ryan, he struggled a little bit. But what I will say is, despite his struggles, other guys stepped up and they carried the torch. You know, they picked up the mantle, and Lottie was one of them. This was a great coming out party for him. And this guy's a bona fide playmaker. He's had that ability all season. And there for a while, he kind of was in a slump a little bit too. You know, he was dropping some passes and doing some uncharacteristic things. As much as that touchdown and his unwillingness to be brought down prior to crossing the goal line, I think that was a spark for the team. Yeah. But I also think it was a spark for Lottie. Like, I feel like that was a huge confidence boost for him. And he started absolutely balling, and considering you know, the fact that Isaiah Horton had already had a drop, and, you know, Josh Cuevas wasn't 100%. We'll be getting to Cuevas here pretty soon. Lottie just did a great job of being a big time playmaker. And
he's so young too. And like, he's a young guy out there, and like the light shine the brightest, and Lottie is on it. And I think too, just like, you know, seeing him perform in that way, he wasn't much of a difference maker in the last couple of games. And then even with Jeremy Bernard in this game, first half, he didn't do much. Then he has the most Sunday catch of them all. Just incredible. I think I came out of my chair when I saw him catch that ball. So I think that the receiver room as a whole, we saw really strong flashes, and I'm excited to continue to see that grow, especially against Indiana. And I'm excited for Ryan to get back in the mix and get his confidence back up.
100%. And what I will say, this is why it's tough to beat a team twice, because Alabama, with the sugar huddle strategy that Brandon's talking about, as far as you get into a quick huddle, you throw something out there quick and then you're breaking it. It really eliminated Oklahoma's advantage of stealing the signs. Like, you're getting the advantage of the not giving away your signals because you're not using signals. Yeah. But also you're using more tempo. And I talked about it all week, that I felt like that this was a great game to use a little bit more tempo. Now, granted, this was more Washington, Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, where it's kind of like some pace changing, where you get not the hurry up, like they're not going lightning fast necessarily, but it's constantly changing the pacing in which you're running the offense, and that keeps the defense on its heels, because they don't know when sometimes they get up to the line of scrimmage and then they do everything. Now they do the quick huddle, and then they get up to the line of scrimmage. You've got the play call already in, and then sometimes you're setting protections and doing all these things. And yes, once again, Ty Simpson, there were times where it's like, man, the clock's running, brother. Well, let's get it going.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, and so, you know, I mean, that can still be frustrating, but I absolutely love the fact that they did kind of use some of that. And I think that Oklahoma didn't really know what to do when they didn't have the advantage of being able to decipher the signals throughout the course of the game, and also just having to deal with the different pacing and not knowing when you were going to need to get up and get ready to go, and when you would have time to really look to the sidelines and kind of gather yourself a little bit. I just thought it was a great strategy by Alabama's offensive staff. And so give them a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, and you talked about that in your keys to the game, that you wanted to see that because you felt like that could be beneficial. And so I'm curious what the strategy will be against Indiana, because, guys, I mean, it's crazy to think that we're going to start prepping that. Obviously, we're going to enjoy this. We're also going to adhere to the 24-hour rule. Don't get us wrong. But what's the next super chat that you have for us, Clint?
Yeah, let's do it. Wayne's, and I'm sorry, I'm a little hoarse.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I
We knew
got
you were
into it a
sitting in the
little bit.
living room.
There was a lot to cheer for, and I was,
That's okay.
my family had fun. It was just the four of us, and we had a great time. But Wayne's, appreciate the 199 super chat. Kane did a great job adjusting with pressure. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Like Mateer had way too much time just sitting back there and being able to decipher. And granted, the mechanics are super sloppy. And I know they talked about that on the broadcast a lot, but just, him hopping and trying, I don't know what he's doing. Dig your feet in the ground and step. No. Keep doing what you're doing because that helped Alabama. But that's got to be frustrating for anybody who evaluates quarterbacks. He's so sloppy and all over the place, and he can make some plays. I mean, that one where he rolls out to the right.
Yeah.
And I mean, he made a couple of plays rolling out to his right and extending plays.
Yeah.
And so give him credit for that. But also, I think that just Kane decided, well, we're not going to do it. We do want to put it on your arm. We feel like that's the easiest way for us to win. And we knew going in that Mateer's legs, they were going to use volume. They were going to hand him volume with his legs. He was healthy. You could tell that he was healthy. I thought he played better to start the game. But they also knew that they were going to need to drum up offense however they could, and he's a more dynamic runner than Ty Simpson. So I thought that was a little bit of an advantage for Mateer going in. And granted, he did have some successful runs. When you talk, I mean, at 19 carries for 15 yards, that looks terrible. A lot of sacks, though, and a lot of huge negative yardage as far as the sacks. So, I thought Alabama overall did a pretty good job of limiting his legs. But, that's just something that overall Kane Womack said, we're going to put it on your arm, but we're also not going to let you sit back there and just have all day to throw. If we can't generate pressure with four, we'll start. And some of it was, it was simulated pressure. It was thinking that more were coming than four, and then they would drop somebody out. But then also it was constantly mixing things up, bringing pressure, adding a fifth, sometimes even a sixth, sometimes even an 8. I mean, there was one time where they went cover 0 and were super aggressive. But they were throwing him for a loop, and I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And when I sat down with Jason Jones, the safeties coach, DB's coach this week, that was something that they did have a focal point on, which was containing Mateer. And the combination of Bray and Keon Sabb back there, I thought was lethal tonight as well. I think, and Coach Jones saying that when you have those two guys out there, it's like having coaches on the field. It's like two quarterbacks. And so this defense has been, really, again, I go back to just the word resilient. And again, with adjustments that they made, we often talk, I felt like Coach Womack got a lot of criticism, a lot of heat, especially last season and towards the beginning of the season. But you got to give him credit where credit is due. And we really saw the defense rise to the occasion tonight.
Absolutely. John, appreciate the 199 super chat. Daniel Tipton, appreciate the 499 super chat. And he says, not to be mean, but we actually sent their superstar kicker crying to mommy on the sidelines. Look, you hate it. Yeah, you don't hate it. Let me take that back. As a human being to another human being, you never want to see somebody that, especially someone that's been that successful, fall flat on their face on, it's a national stage. It's the first college football playoff game. It's in prime time at night. There were a lot of eyeballs, I'm sure. And so you hate that for him to an extent, but what I loved was the fact that he felt the pressure in those moments. And he's been so good all season, historically good. And then in this moment, Alabama had everybody on that Oklahoma sideline kind of head spinning, and they were feeling the pressure. And he ended up missing 2 kicks, going 1 for 3, while Connor Talty went 2 for 2. And granted, Talty wasn't asked to make 50-plus yarders. He wasn't asked to do anything like that, but he just knocking down kicks. He has been significantly better post the first Oklahoma game, which then led into the Eastern Illinois game where everything kind of boiled over and he got booed. He has been much better since then. Give him a lot of credit for that, guys.
Yeah, you have to. And again, we talk about it a lot that, Clint will criticize some guys when it's time to give them their flowers. We do give them their flowers. And so, kind of forcing an area that they had really dominated in, especially the first game with special teams, OU, flipping the script tonight after the first quarter was really, really significant in that facet. And again, you hate to see it, but if you're a Bama fan, you love to see it.
Absolutely, 100%. Tobias Duke, appreciate the $5 super chat. Ty's a different quarterback if you can give him 5 seconds. Nonetheless, he needs to quicken that clock in his head. 1, 2, 3 out. Great comment. Completely agree. We've seen this. This has kind of been a Ty problem. One of Ty's main problems is that sometimes the internal clock is just he needs to speed up a little bit. And, it's understandable, especially when over the course of the season, when they were able to hone in on what Alabama does well offensively, they were able to present challenges to those things, and they started making him process a little bit more. So really, he's just now starting to face in his college career having to truly be sped up in his processing. Early in the season, he kind of knew, okay, they're in cover 2 here. This is where they're vulnerable. He knew where to go with the football. So as he's had to adjust and asked, okay, I thought they were in cover 2. They're actually in a different coverage. Let me read that and then let me figure out, process the information, and get the football out. That's a lot more difficult to do, especially when they're adding bodies and pressure, whether it be simulated pressure or actual pressure, and they're trying to speed you up. And so I think at times he's kind of struggled with that, but this is as he gets more experience, that's going to become a little bit easier. But it is going to take some time. I was very encouraged by how he was able to process some of that information. He still was having some issues, but overall, I was encouraged by his performance.
What did you think of Grubb being back in the booth? That was something I feel like not a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah, great point. And that really didn't come out until late, like right before the kickoff, I want to say. And I thought I understood why he made the move to the sidelines, but it clearly wasn't working. The offense had actually regressed because I want to say the first game he tried it out against Eastern Illinois.
Yep.
Ty had 2 interceptions. One of them was an arm punt, or not even an arm punt. It was a end of half, throw it up there. So you really don't count that. But like the offense wasn't great. It was good on the ground, but it wasn't great from a passing standpoint against Eastern Illinois. Auburn, really wasn't great offensively. Georgia was terrible. It's like, okay, we've tried this. It's not really working. I like the fact that he's willing. It proved, hey, I'm willing to try this because I think it can help us. But if it doesn't help us, I'm willing to admit that I was wrong on that, and I'm willing to swallow my pride and get my tail back up in the booth where I can be more useful. I liked that. I think that says a lot about Ryan Grubb, and I still think that he's learning to work around or manage some of the limitations of the offense, and I really feel like he started off the game really struggling on that front. But once again, like the team, like Ty Simpson, like Connor Talty, like everybody, he bounced back from that, and he really was able to start helping out. And I thought he was calling a pretty good game. And you started seeing once they had a 10-point lead and he was trying to kind of run clock, I thought he regressed a little bit and got a little too conservative. But prior to that, I really thought he was mixing in the run extremely well and hitting Oklahoma at the right times with it, where it's like, okay, this is how your run game can be effective. A lot of people say, run to set up the pass. There's also passing to set up the run. And, I thought that they did a pretty good job, at least at a certain point in the game, doing that.
Okay, we're getting some post-game quotes coming in. It looks like Ryan Grubb was actually made available to the media.
Whoa.
This is from Chase Goodbright. It says, Ryan Grubb, I didn't feel the same resolve in Atlanta that I saw here tonight, ... Even when it was 17-0, I felt like there was belief that somebody was going to make a play.
And you feel that. You feel that. And I will say, it to me, sitting at home, it didn't feel that way, and I can admit that, because that's just me. Now, granted, I mean, I don't think they gave me a whole lot of reason to have that belief, but I'm also not going to sit up and be like, oh, I knew they were coming back. I knew they were fine. No, I was sitting there thinking, oh, man, you got your ass kicked for 4 quarters against Georgia, and now you're coming out here. It's a continuation. I pointed out in previous to the start of the second quarter, Alabama had been outscored in the previous 5 quarters of football 38-7. That's crazy. That is insane. That is like unheard of. Well, I wouldn't say unheard of. It hadn't been part of Alabama's deal in a very, very long time. Yes. And so that was super concerning. But unlike against Georgia, they were able to figure out a way to get things back on track. And just the fact that you had so much that wasn't going well for you, and yet you were able to get it back on track from a confidence building standpoint. We've seen this team play the close games and figure out ways to win. And that's a confidence builder. Like when you're in those close games, you believe in your ability to get the job done. but there's something about you're 17 points down and you come back in the fashion in which they did. You erased a 17-point lead.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it took you 2.5 quarters to do it or 3 quarters to do it. You did it in a quarter. You tied it up before halftime where you could go into half, getting the football to start the second half. Now you're back to 0-0. That is wildly impressive, guys. I don't think we're not giving just how it was done enough credit because and once again, it was not any single sided facet of the game. It was the offense, it was the defense, and it was like blocking the punt. Now, granted, I don't know what that punter was doing. I mean, that was weird. I was like, man, I mean, someone needs to check see if he placed any bets because that was weird. He just randomly decided. It was weird. It was strange.
It was weird, but TK, shout out to TK.
TK made some plays. Hey, and he was hustling, trying to get material on the side. Yeah, hey, when he had contained on the wraps, man, I'm telling you. Boy,
I would not want to see Tim Keenan running full speed at me.
There was one point in the game, and here's something else I want to mention. I love how Alabama's defense made Oklahoma pay for giving John Mateer volume in the run game. If they're going to do that with their quarterback, you tag his ass every chance you can possibly get, and you make him think about it. There was one time where he got up and kind of shook his head like he was shaking off a big hit.
Yeah.
And it was the constant. And there was one point, and I don't know, my dad said that he thought that maybe he tripped, but I was like, I almost feel like he just decided, he just laid down and was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah. I mean, and if it was like, I would need to go back and watch, but if Alabama had him at that point, that's big time because that was a huge part of their offense that they clearly were going to rely heavily on in this football game. And while he did have some success, Alabama was making him think twice. And I really feel like if you didn't allow him as a runner to get into any sort of groove, and that is huge. I think in the past against a lot of mobile quarterbacks, they've allowed those quarterbacks to really get into a rhythm as a runner, and it's really strained them for 4 quarters. I never felt like Mateer was in any sort of rhythm, despite the fact that he had a little bit of success.
Let's jump back to the offense because I'm getting some more quotes in from Ryan Grubb, and we can talk about Josh Cuevas. Have we touched on him yet, Clint?
Not really, no. I briefly mentioned him, and we need to talk about him.
So Coach Grubb's calls tight end Josh Cuevas one of the toughest players he's ever coached. To be able to do what he did tonight was absolutely unbelievable.
I got to be honest, guys. He was, in a boot on Monday?
Yeah, and then he was seen at the airport yesterday, not in a boot.
It was like the first, and everybody's like, oh, great. I mean, yeah, that was great to see, but I was looking at that and saying, look, if you're still in a boot on Monday, me expecting you to make any sort of significant impact in this football game on Friday, not even getting it on Saturday. Yeah, I thought this is a cat that's going to be a warrior. This is a guy who's going to push through it because it could be the last time that he gets to suit up in crimson. And so he's going to put it all on the line. And then he gets out there and he looks like Josh Cuevas. And I'm sitting there wondering, this new little ankle device thing that they're talking about these cats have. It's like, I don't know what they put. I don't know what that is. Did they give him a new ankle? Because he looked healthy. He moved well. Yep. And granted, he handled a much larger portion of the snaps and the target share. I mean, 6 targets is a healthy amount. And he caught 4 of them for 43 yards, a long of 23, averaged 10.8 yards per carry. Guys, I mean, he did not. And we saw how important he was for Alabama's offense against Oklahoma in the first matchup. Mm-hmm. And while he didn't lead the team in catches or receiving yards or targets, he certainly made his presence felt, and he was a problem for Oklahoma's defense. And to an extent, I don't necessarily know that Oklahoma's defense was expecting him to be that effective, giving, his injury status. And this is why, hey, I'm not saying that they would have beat Georgia in the SEC championship, far from it, but I am saying a healthy Josh Cuevas makes a difference. A healthy, Parker Brailsford, I thought he played pretty well. What was he perfect? No, it's a really good defensive front. He's going to lose some, but I thought he played pretty well overall. Thought it was strange how they decided, they started Wilkin at right guard. They started Michael Carroll at right tackle. And then throughout the course of the game, my guess is that Michael Carroll probably had some mental errors, and they decided there for a little while to pull him out and said, okay, we're going to let you sit for a minute, because they moved Wilkin out to right tackle, and they slid. And maybe it was just trying to get Jaden Roberts some opportunity. I don't know. I just think they needed to commit. Maybe they still haven't committed to a 5, and that's what they were doing. I would be curious to go back and watch and see what caused that, or if we can even identify what caused it. But I thought it was strange. And then later on, they went back to Michael Carroll, and so that was good to see. But Formby going back out to right tackle, I was concerned about that, especially going against that Oklahoma front. And I mean, I would need to go back and watch, but I thought overall the offensive line was effective enough. They gave him Ty some clean pockets at times. So overall, I was really impressed with a bunch of guys. Let's get to one of these super chats real quick.
Let's do it.
Jonesy, appreciate the 199 super chat. How about KC, KK, and Noah Carter doing work? Okay, let me think about this. Keon Keeley. Okay, who's KC? Do we know who? I'm just not thinking. It's here. I'm telling you.
Well, regardless.
Yeah, I feel bad because if someone's gonna say it, I'm like, duh.
No, literally.
But I thought Red Morgan played great. I thought
yes, Red Morgan. Oh my goodness.
The
last few
physical.
games, so consistent too. Kelby Collins. Oh my gosh.
Kelby Collins. Yes, and great. Of course. Kelby Collins was out against
Kelby and a K
Georgia.
doesn't like associate in my brain.
Yes. Kelby Collins. Thank you so much. Good call. They got what they needed from a lot of their depth pieces. They really did. I thought Justin Hill played pretty well. Thought it was interesting. You still continue to see a really healthy amount of all three of those top Wolves, and you saw Noah Carter as well. So I thought they were more so condensed, that rotation, and because Quay Russaw was back and he was kind of, a lot closer to 100%. If he's not 100%, I thought, okay, you're going to see Anze at the top. You're going to see Quay, and then you're going to see, Justin Hill sporadically. Instead, Justin Hill's continue to have a pretty big role, and Noah Carter has been that sporadic guy. So, I mean, just their young, I wouldn't say young, but just their depth pieces along their defensive front. They got definitely quite a bit of impact out of those guys.
Absolutely. And I do want to go back, though, to talking about Cuevas, too, before we move on. That was something that when I joined our friends on SEC Network this morning, they were asking about, the significance of having Cuevas and who's going to be the most impactful. And I said it has to be him, right? Obviously, you are still missing a few guys in terms of injury as a whole, but after the SEC championship, that was the biggest thing that we heard from Coach DeBoer was there was a laundry list of guys. And you see what Bama was able to do with the, kind of really finite amount of time that they had to get back healthy for this game. Now you have even more time to get healthy in preparation for January 1st out in Pasadena. And so, kind of to everyone's point in the chat as well is if Josh Cuevas was able to do that, I mean, it's going to be exciting to see how much more and the continuity that's going to take place in practice because you're going to continue to get some guys back. And then obviously, we'll have media coming up in the next couple of days. Actually, I don't know with Christmas what the schedule will be, but we'll get some more information on that. But, the addition of Josh Cuevas being back, and I think him not missing a beat really shows, one, shout out to the training staff at Alabama, Jeff Allen, and that whole group of people to get these players back in the condition that they are. Because if you're tuning into that game and you didn't realize that Cuevas had been out with the injury that he had, I don't think that you would know. You wouldn't assume that based off of his production. And so I think having that connection with him and Ty is going to be super significant going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. Jake Moore, first of all, good to hear from you, buddy. That's a former high school teammate.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good to hear from you, buddy. Appreciate the $4.99 super chat. Need this team to watch. Remember the Titans on repeat until the Rose Bowl. You blitz all night. Need more heat and better blocking to beat Indiana. You're definitely going to need more. I mean, Indiana is a good football team. They've proven that. And do not let the logo fool you. Vanderbilt was not your typical Vanderbilt. Georgia Tech's not your typical Georgia Tech, and Indiana is not your typical Indiana. I mean, they're a good football team. They're good on both sides of the football, and we're going to be talking a lot about Indiana. But just the fact that Alabama, I mean, they live to fight another day. They figured out a way to get a win and make an epic, amazing comeback, and they're going to get the opportunity to find out exactly what Indiana is about. Really good football team. Kurt Cignetti has been at Alabama. You've got that connection. I'm sure we'll hear about that quite a bit. But Fernando Mendoza, Heisman Trophy winner, currently the number 1 seed in this entire college football playoff bracket or landscape or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a tough challenge for sure. But the fact that Alabama was able to get this win is absolutely huge. Appreciate you once again, brother. Mattress Matt, appreciate the $5 super chat. Proud of Grubb for getting the ball out quick like I told him to. I think we have a good chance versus Indiana. Look, I mean, I don't hate Alabama's matchup against Indiana. I really don't. I don't think that it's this insurmountable, task or anything like that, but it is going to have challenges. And I just think Fernando Mendoza, he's a different caliber of quarterback than John Mateer. He's not going to provide what Mateer did as far as his legs. He's not going to strain you and be that +1 threat in the run game. But as far as his ability to put NFL stuff on tape, like I've talked about a lot with Ty this season, as far as what he's asked to do and how that translates to the NFL, it's it's easy to see what he can be as an NFL quarterback. What Indiana asked of Fernando Mendoza is very similar. I say similar. It's very translatable. So teams are looking at him and they're saying, hey, we kind of know what this guy's going to be on the next level. He's a good player, but I was proud of Grubb as well. I thought that he did a good job, and I thought Ty did a good job of executing. Because a lot of times it's got to be both. You got to have the play calling, you got to have the game plan, the blueprint, but you also got to go out there and do it. And Grubb's not the one throwing passes. He's not catching passes. He's not running footballs. He's not blocking. Other guys got to go do that. So his symphony. Somebody had to go out there and actually perform and play the instruments, and guys did a great job of that. So good balance of both.
So Kalen DeBoer, speaking of Ty Simpson, he said this about him in post game. Kalen DeBoer on Ty Simpson's second half, I saw a guy committed to bringing energy.
Yeah. I mean, and you saw they showed him on the sidelines multiple times.
Oh yeah,
and he was bringing it. He was in it.
Can we please pause for a second and talk about the live performance that took place during the fourth quarter?
We had heard about, like, there was rumors about this. I didn't care. I'm like, if 50 Cent, 25 Cent, I don't care who shows up. It really doesn't matter. I'm here to watch a football game. But I just thought it was funny how he showed up, and everybody was like, no, we're losing by multiple scores in the fourth quarter. We really don't want to see you, 50 Cent. So why don't you go somewhere? The crowd was not into it. You could tell that he felt that. He was like, man, I really was. Why couldn't y'all should have had me come out in the first quarter? This place would have been rocking.
I saw a quote somewhere. I guess Coach DeBoer was asked about it, and he did not realize that the performance was live, apparently. So there's that.
He didn't know it was going to be live.
No, I'm trying to find the quote. I'm refreshing extra.
Because at first I thought you meant like he didn't know. Like in hindsight, he's like, "Oh, that was live." I thought they just played.
That might be. I'll try.
How would he know? He probably was focused on his team. He might have just been like, "Oh, I thought that was just something they were playing on the jumbotrons on the."
I remember this season he finally said, he was like, "I finally realized when Dixieland Delight was. Like, I get so in the zone that I'm like, man, it's nice to realize it's taking place."
And it's great when you're celebrating while you're doing it. Obviously, you can't do that on the road, but yeah, that's awesome. Mattress Matt, appreciate the $5 super chat. Grubb is addicted to the slow developing pass routes. You can tell how hard it is for him to settle for the quick outs, but that's all we need. I mean, sure. Let's not be overly negative, and which I guess you're not, but are you talking about the quick outs like on 4th and 2 with the pick play against Georgia that fell short? Like, I mean, all that stuff needs to be a part of the offense. And yes, sometimes I do feel like things are a little too slow developing, but tonight I felt like he got into a much better rhythm. So I wasn't. I mean, I just, you got anything on that?
Not really. I mean, I think that's been something that I feel like people have analyzed with Ryan Grubb, that feels like when something is working, it kind of seems to stray. But I thought from a game management standpoint, really this entire game was done really, really well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Brandon from DC, appreciate the $9.99 super chat. I still believe in Ryan, but he's got to trust his hands and stop body catching. It's a confidence thing. Julio also had a similar issue his sophomore year. Patience, Todd family. And look, I can't blame anybody for if their patience is getting thin, because it's frustrating. He's got to go out there and make some plays, and he's fully capable. I think that's the most frustrating part for fans, is that you've seen him do it, and you've seen him do it at such a high level. Here's what the whole there was this thing about the glasses, right?
The Holly Rowe. Yep.
Yeah. And just look, I don't like stuff like that. And here's why. I think you're putting too much of a focus and an emphasis. you have to emphasize it. But when you get guys thinking about it too much, sometimes that does more harm than good. And when it's like, oh, well, they got these glasses and it's supposed to make the drops disappear. And then you see Isaiah Horton and you see, Jerry Bernard and you see Ryan Williams, Caleb Edwards. And you're like, okay, hold up. Like maybe we should just not just let them. I think Ryan is thinking about it too much. That's what I think his entire problem is. I mean, but yes, Brandon 100% agree. He's body catching. It was so evident on the drop. He let it get into his shoulder pad when he didn't need to. I mean, it is frustrating. But when you've got guys like Lottie Brooks ready to step up and make plays, and Isaiah Horton made some plays, and
Jerry Bernard.
It's let him continue to work through whatever he's working through. And then hopefully at some point when just at a certain point, I feel like it's kind of like Connor Talty where it'll kind of bottom out a little bit. And then you're just like, you know what? It doesn't get much worse than that. And then he'll just start playing ball again. I hope that's what happens at least.
Yeah. And I can assure you guys, I promise that no one is more frustrated at himself than him. You know what I mean? Like, obviously it can be frustrating to watch it transpire and almost it feels like it's expected at this point. But if there's anyone that is harping on it and anyone that wants to fix it, I can assure you that it is Ryan Williams. He's not taking like solace or satisfaction in this at all. And so I think that's something to kind of keep perspective is as much as, we want it fixed or you want it fixed, I can assure you he does as well.
I mean, I can't stand that I say too much. I've been trying to work on it. And I think about it too much, though. I even
saying
yes, between words, and I'm sure now that I brought attention to it, now everybody's going to probably always hear me say But my point, I even have a post-it note that I stick to the bottom of my computer screen at home in my office that says, "Don't say Like,
do you know the trick, real quick, Clint?
What is the trick?
The trick. This is what you learn in the broadcasting world. Instead of using a filler word, so some people's filler words are or right. You guys might be thinking of someone that says that a lot. If not, Ty Simpson, that's his filler word. Instead of saying the filler word, take a pause. Just pause. And it sounds so simple. And you're probably like, EG, and people in chat are like, EG, come on. Like, that is the trick of the trade. That's what the professionals do. Instead of when you want to say take a deep breath instead and then go to your next thought.
Look at it. We're teaching people things. And when we finally start getting some of our listeners on with us to join us for some of this, did I just do again? I'm pretty sure I did. Anyways.
Oh, you did it again.
This is I'm pulling a Ron Williams on this. I think I'm thinking about this too much. In my brain, I keep saying don't say and my brain's just saying say because your brain can't process the negative. Anyways, we'll get back to the super chat. Stop talking about my ums. MD Port, appreciate the $5 super chat. First away win of the college football playoff era. Let's effing go, Bama. Yeah. Absolutely great post.
Point. That's true. That's the first.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Matthew, appreciate the $9.99 super chat. Xavier Brown, dude is so clutch. Another pick six. Now, granted, I don't know if maybe Oklahoma needs to take Alabama's route in practice and not always have their offense wearing the same colored practice jersey. And then because I think that actually, I mean, if he's used to, I don't even know what they wear in practice, to be honest with you. But if he's used to throwing to white jerseys all the time, and maybe he just saw white out there that looks like an Oklahoma away jersey, and because I don't know who, it was a miscommunication, but it's like at that point, I don't know what he saw to make him pull that trigger. Crazy.
I don't either. That was insane. Go ahead.
I think that's Kalen DeBoer being two steps ahead and thinking, hey, let's actually, whatever, the offense is going to be wearing on Saturday, let's go ahead and put them in those jerseys throughout practice all week and get them used to seeing it. Not saying I'm saying it could have played a factor. I don't know, but
it could have, maybe.
Xavier made the most of it. I love seeing him back out there. He had to leave the SEC championship game, so there was some concern there. We weren't expecting him to miss this game, but he looked good for sure.
The fact that he has two just iconic pick sixes in the same season, and I do feel at liberty to share this with you guys. It'll probably make you laugh. So the first one against Tennessee, I'm trying to get this, visual captured for you guys. two things happened. One, my camera was actually on me the entire time. So I missed Xavier's first pick six, and you just see my face. Never posted that for obvious reasons. But two, if you look in the background of that broadcast, you will see me in the back of the end zone, only person standing. I was so just frazzled, sprinting along with ZB. So that was the first pick six. I do feel at liberty to share with you guys that I never captured the moment. I just captured myself with it. Sue me. But then this one, I am telling you guys, it was the cleanest. And that's what I'm going back to. I don't know what John Mateer saw. I don't know. I really don't. All I know is that Xavier Brown said, hold your horses. Let me have my moment, straight to the end zone. It was incredible.
It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And just once again, it's another guy making a play. And it felt like early on, Oklahoma's guys were the ones that were making all the plays. Like something needed to happen. It's like those sideline catches from Deion Burks. It's like, dude, how are you doing some of I mean, it was just every time a play needed to be made, Oklahoma was making it. And then Alabama just flipped the switch. And I guess, as Kalen DeBoer mentioned, or alluded to in his post-game press conference, they felt confident the guys were going to go out there and start making plays, and that's exactly what happened in all three phases. And that's to see it all. When they came out flat, in my mind, I was like, this is it's a massive red flag from a coaching standpoint. I'll be honest. That's how I felt, because I'm like, this is all three phases. You're not prepared. It looks more like Georgia all over again, an extension of that. But it's also coaching when it all flips. It's not one side of the football flipping the switch. It is all three almost simultaneously. That, to me, is coaching. It's reflective of the leadership that they have. And I thought that was fantastic to see. Also, by the way, guys, because I keep touching this, I wasn't wearing the blue rowback early in this football. I was wearing the Alabama one, and then things were not going well.
You changed?
I went upstairs and I said, you know what? And I was going to put on like an Alabama shirt. I typically don't like wearing a lot of Alabama stuff publicly. It's still the old school media in me where you're not supposed to be a fan, but everybody knows I'm a fan. Anyways, I was going to change it to just a regular Bama shirt, but I'm like, you know what? Right now, guys, I'm just not feeling Bama. Like, I'm not feeling like putting on another, because I tried that in the Georgia game and it failed miserably. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just change. Maybe I just, because when I'm going to the games and stuff and they're doing well, I can't wear Bama gear. So I'm like, let me change out of it. And then they ended up coming back and winning. So I will take 100% full credit. This is my lucky rowback hoodie. Everybody needs to go get it. I don't even know exactly what color it is. It's beautiful and I love it. Use the promo code Crimson20 to get 20% off your order. Love those guys. Love this. Glad that this is now going to be. Just understand, next post-game show, you're probably going to see me in the same hoodie. So just everybody be prepared. I wonder if everybody else, let us know if you're as superstitious as I am. I'm not a little stitious. I'm superstitious for sure.
Let us know if you like The Office as well. That's a direct quote. With that being said, keep those comments coming. We love looking at them. Again, we're going through the super chats. We're working through all of them. Make sure you're subscribed. We're hitting an hour in. We're going to keep going. We're not going anywhere. So keep giving us your thoughts. There is so much to talk about. And if you want to chat about Indiana, we're going to get there. We promise. This week we'll have a ton of content for you guys. But Clint, let's go to that next super chat that's on the list.
Noah Butler, appreciate the $4.99 super chat. Thoughts on Damani? Looks like a deer in headlights. Can't figure out what's going on there. I mean, once again, I give him a lot of credit for kind of bouncing back
in the latter half of the season, for sure.
Yeah, and in this game, like, I thought he had some moments early where it wasn't great, and then he started to bounce back. And I will say that his hustle on the touchdown. That, I mean, he was hauling. He was trying to make something happen. So the effort definitely wasn't in question in this football game. Does he lack physicality at times? Yes, but I also think that once he had that moment, you saw a lot of those moments early in the season, meaning he didn't respond great after having some of those rough moments. He didn't say, "I'm not doing that again. We're going to go get ultra physical now." He continued. Those problems snowballed on him. In this game, I thought he did a pretty good job of saying, hey, I wasn't physical enough here. I'm going to go be physical moving forward. Maybe I come away thinking differently after I watched the tape, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't his best performance. I wouldn't call it that, but I also think that it's not enough for me to like heavily criticize. Whitmore, appreciate the $5 super chat. Was Daniel Hill only successful late because Oklahoma was tired, or do we need to stop forcing Jam and go to him earlier? Go. You want to?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can start. I feel like, that was also like, obviously we all saw that really explosive run, but I think that's hard to tell because obviously me and Clint, we're going to go back and we're going to look at different things and different facets. But I think that the combination of Jam and Daniel Hill can be really, really strong. And so I'm curious going forward what that balance will kind of be, because I did think we saw, again, flashes of what the run game could be. But again, I feel like, I can't speak on if that was only because OU was tired or if it's because, the lane was open, the block was there, and also Hill cut the correct way, right? I just ended my sentence with right. See, that's a filler.
See, now that now you're thinking about it, this is difficult, guys. I'm telling you, when you think
a little public speaking in Cover Crimson post game. We do it
all.
We do it all.
I work very hard. I feel miserably with the but I do work hard to get some of this stuff corrected. I just am not. Anyways, back to Daniel Hill. Did it again. See, we're thinking about it way too much. Jam, what I will say about him is that we also need to remember that he is coming off of an injury. He has been out, and we've seen him kind of take a little while to get his footing back when he's come back from other injuries. Like he looked okay against Georgia. I thought he looked better than the numbers indicated, but he needed to be back for a game before he really started to find a rhythm against Vanderbilt and then against Missouri. He goes out against Missouri due to a concussion, comes back against Tennessee, doesn't look great. In fact, Daniel Hill was kind of the main show in that one as well, had a lot more success. It took him a while to get back on track. It wasn't until the Iron Bowl that we actually started seeing Jam Miller look like Jam Miller again, and he gets hurt again, and he missed the Georgia game. Now he's back, and he doesn't look great. But if history is any indication, I would fully expect him to continue to get his footing back and become a lot more effective. You're going to continue to see Jam Miller and Daniel Hill. I said this earlier, what I liked about Daniel Hill in this football game was that early on, it felt like he was playing small back. He was trying to elude. He was trying to, like there was one time where, a defensive back kind of started to try to go low on him a little bit, and he tried to jump over him. And it's like, dude, you're 245 pounds. Lower your shoulder. And look, if he wants to get low, go low with him. I mean, because it wasn't low enough where he's like trying to chop your legs. And then throughout the course of the game, he started doing that. He started being a hammer. And I saw guys like, that's what tackling 245 pounds should be like for an opposing defense. He got behind his shoulder pads. He was playing a lot more physical. And I thought it really added an element to Alabama's run game as far as just Oklahoma. I mean, this edge, and man, first of all, Oklahoma fans were running their mouths all week. Brent Venables is sitting there smirking from ear to ear the entire first quarter. Me, as a very emotional, not in a good place Alabama fan, I didn't like that. Now, granted, if I wasn't so emotionally involved or attached to the situation, maybe I would have looked at that in a reasonable and said, hey, that's just a guy who's happy. His team's doing well. But in the moment, I didn't like that at all. I'm like, you're way too cocky right now. I know you're up 17-0, but you would not win this football game. But and then Kip Lewis and a lot of the Oklahoma defenders and stuff, like he was like running his mouth to players on before the game. Man, I'm really glad that they shut those guys up. But I would say all that to say, over the course of the game, Daniel Hill really started to impose his will a little bit. And sometimes you just got to experience it and then say, oh, that's what that's like. On the high school level, I'm sure. I mean, I've seen this highlight. I mean, I know he's running through people, but on this level, he is a lot more nimble. And while he's a big back, the profile doesn't exactly fit based off of the skill set. But he can, when he runs behind his shoulder pads, he can be extremely physical. So him actually getting to do that in this game, and he's dragging folks, hopefully he's like, hey, okay, I like this. I was the one to, instead of getting blown up by a blitzing corner like you did in the first matchup, you're lowering your shoulder pads and you're the one delivering the blows, and you're the one getting to take the fight to them. Hopefully he learned some things in this football game, and Alabama can use that moving forward. It's not just him. Jam Miller's going to continue to be a part of that backfield, though.
Yeah, I like how you said imposing his will, and that when it comes to the run game and what the coaches have said about it, Coach DeBoer, Coach Grubb, it's about having the confidence to be able to do it. That plays a role in it. And so I think tonight, again, we saw some flashes of. I think that's really important going forward because the run game has been progressing. And I know that a lot of people have also had comments, alluding to it so late in the season. Why is it still an issue? Well, at least there's been improvement, right? Even with the offensive line, at least there's been that improvement that we've seen. And that also applies to the run game.
They're considering what we just saw. I mean, they ended up rushing. They had 28 yards rushing, guys. Daniel Hill had a long of 30, and they finished with total 28 yards. Now, granted, that's Todd Simpson, negative 22, but it wasn't a great rushing performance, but it also wasn't negative 3 yards. And I want to say after the first quarter, they were at negative 3 yards. It was not pretty. And once again, Jam Miller, 7 carries for 11 yards. I'm telling you guys, he's not 100% right now. But the fact that he was available and he provide right now, Daniel Hill, AK Deer, I just don't think he's ready. I think he's got a very bright future in Tuscaloosa. I love the skill set, but I think against Georgia, it kind of proved he's not quite there. Dre Washington, they try to get him in there and get him on a screen. Obviously, that didn't work out, but your best bet, your most effective tandem easily is Daniel Hill and Jam Miller. And I still don't think that Daniel Hill is a guy who, from a conditioning standpoint, you're going to give 15 plus carries to. So you've got to have a second running back that you can spell him with. And Jam, is the perfect one. And I think he's just going to continue to get better with that as he gets his feet back under him. And he gets now, 12 days, 11 or 12 days to get healthy, to get healthier, where he can actually contribute. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Laz Lude, appreciate the $4.99 super chat. Epic comeback when I thought we were dead after 17-0. Play more man-to-man. How are you feeling at 17-0, EG?
It wasn't good, Clint. I'm going to be honest. It wasn't good, and it felt like it was just a continuation of somehow the first matchup and then also somehow the SEC championship. It was a very weird feeling of like, this is it. This is really what's going to happen. Why I'm not a coach and why I'm in the media, right? But I think that I too was disappointed. I think you had to be disappointed because it just felt like a lot of the same things that has been brought up to the coaching staff about different elements they're wanting to become stronger in, different points that just weren't clicking, they weren't firing, especially with the offense. I mean, when was the first down? It was in the second quarter. Right?
Yeah, I mean they went 3 and out, 3 straight drives to start.
Yeah. So again, it took a while to get things going, but once they did, it was a pretty sweet feeling. And that pick 6, I'm telling you guys. Oh,
look, guys, I know there's some of you in here. We're not going to call anybody out by name. I don't even know whose name I would call out if I did. But there were some people, I'm sure, who, when they're down 17-0, they thought Michigan can have him. And those people, hopefully, you didn't verbalize that to anybody. You weren't. Hopefully, you didn't say that.
Hopefully you weren't a keyboard warrior.
Yeah, you certainly didn't need to put it on the internet for the world to have receipts on, because I'm a receipt chaser and I'll find it. But I definitely am. But even in your own collective small party, hopefully you didn't say that. And if you did, own it. Say, you know what, guys, I was emotional because I was emotional too. I just knew that what I kept telling myself the whole time is, look, I'm frustrated. How in the world is this happening? How are they not prepared? But at the end of the day, I kept saying, don't take it there, because the alternative is not great. And go lean back on what you know about Kalen DeBoer and this coaching staff. It's a great fit. A lot of people like to say it's not a great fit. I'm telling you, it is a great fit. And so once again, I said, don't even entertain anything like that. Cause I was going to make a joke about it at first. And I'm like, don't even make a joke. Don't even go there. But I know because I was the fact that I was even considering the joke. I'm like, I know there's a lot of people sitting around probably saying this. If you did, let's have some fun with it. Own it. It's
please, yes, and send us the screenshots. Also, if you guys just want a laugh, please, I'm begging you, go look at the Notre Dame accounts. See what they are tweeting.
Okay. First of all, that amazing, because man. And guys, good point, EG, because speaking of receipts, I'm locked and loaded. We're going to have a lot of fun when I get off of this show, because, man, was I bookmarking some tweets. And a lot of them were Notre Dame being talking about Alabama getting to the college football playoff. Talk about going out there and making a statement. Yes. Hey, I mean, nobody thought Nobody. A lot of people thought you didn't deserve to be in the playoffs, and when you were down 17-0, a lot
Just
of people
confirm
felt
their narrative.
it confirmed their narrative, and then you said, you know what, guys,
hold that thought.
Go ahead and put out more receipts that people like Clint Lamb can go find later, and then we're going to make our comeback and make this thing a lot of fun. So
that's so true. I mean, there were outlandish things hitting the timeline. I mean, from national media to Joe Blow on the street. I mean, there's a lot of cleaning up. Old Takes Exposed is going to have a heyday, just like Clint will. So if you still have some up, just know they can and will be used against you when it comes to Clint's Twitter/X world.
But if you take it yourself and you post it and you own it, then that takes the power away. Own your mistake. It's the way to do it. Own it. Just accept the fact. It's what I've always tried to live that way. Just accept when you're wrong. And you know what? If people will still try to throw it in your face, but when you're like, hey, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. I completely whiffed on that. It does remove some of the power. Just telling you.
Please look at Skylar's chat. Can you see that one?
Let's see.
Uprooted than vegetables.
No. Oh yes, uprooted than vegetables. Now I feel way more comfortable using the Brent vegetables.
I do too.
That's amazing. Brett McMurphy apparently was somebody.
Yeah, he had quite a few. Well, I don't say quite a few. His just came up on my timeline more than a few times. Let's see if it's still up actually.
Whoa, away offsides. Jeff says Damian Harris is crushed. Bama won that game. Let's not take it that far. I get it. Yeah, that's a nice little shot.
This was the Brett McMurphy one. Unlike Alabama, let's see what time this is tweeted. We're gonna give you guys the full experience. 8:05. Unlike Alabama,
less than an hour in.
At least Notre Dame had the decency to opt out of its bowl game before kickoff. Yeah. Did not age well.
Look. Okay. And I'm not going to. I saw someone, actually probably multiple people. I just came across one person that said it was like, is Kalen DeBoer going to lose this so bad that Michigan doesn't want him either?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it's like, or he gets his team back on track and they overcome a 17-point deficit and they end up winning by 10 points.
That's exactly what happened, Clint.
That's exactly what happened. Brass Knuckles, appreciate the 199 super chat. Does Williams need to transfer? No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to go there. I understand. And every time that he drops a football in a game, and especially like, look, if he went, 5 catches for $120 and then he had a drop, I mean, people was like, no, okay. But, the fact that he's sitting there with 1 catch for 5 yards on 3 targets, with a drop, that's going to, the narrative is going to continue to get louder on that front. I don't want to ignore that that's going to be the case, but I think you need to manufacture touches for him and try to get his I don't feel like they're doing that enough. Like I thought against Georgia. Yeah, going to him early and doing some easy stuff. Now, granted, even the easy stuff right now, he's even making some of the easy stuff hard, but I just feel like that he's a guy that can really help this football team. And you can tell, not necessarily to the same extent that he was, but opposing defenses still know what kind of threat he is. And they play Alabama as such in certain instances. They know what he's capable of. And so that's not a guy that you just want to kick to the curb. But at some point, he's always going to have drop issues. I don't think it's ever going to be something where it's like that's fixed completely. But he does have to get better. I at least want to acknowledge that he must be better moving forward. There's no doubt about it. Perry, appreciate the $2 super chat. Trick to not saying is saying vegetables. Imagine me saying vegetables between. I don't think you guys realize how often I say
So, well, let's give some context for those that might not have joined us
good point.
On that show a couple days ago. So someone in the chat, I think it was Skylar in the chat. It was
Skylar.
Said, well, I don't remember the exact line, but it was an autocorrect to vegetables instead of venables. And it just really tickled me and Clint. Like I could not get it together for the remainder of the show because every time I read it, vegetables, it stuck. And that's been our inside joke for the last couple of days.
I kept thinking at first, I was like, man, is that just a nickname? Because if it is, that's
Burnt
incredible.
vegetables.
But it also seems like something that would be auto-corrected. And Skylar did point out, yes, it was auto-corrected, but Skylar will always officially be known as the person that gave a pretty epic nickname to Brent Vegetables.
When I was on this morning with SEC Network, in my mind, I was like, I cannot say Brent Vegetables.
Oh, you're lucky you didn't say
I did not
vegetables
say,
then,
I
because
did
you were
not
supposed to
overthink it.
say Venables.
Say
That's what you gotta,
Venables.
say Venables. Say Venables. That's what you got to tell yourself. James Parker, appreciate the $5 super chat. This Rose Bowl will be the 100th anniversary of Alabama's first Rose Bowl win and national title in January 1926. I am going. I live in Cali.
Nice.
First of all, that's awesome. That is all. You know what? Send us pictures. Send them on Twitter when you're there. I mean, that's a beautiful venue. I mean, that is college football. They're trying to strip everything away from us when it comes to college football, but that's the venues, which I say that, you know, the event, they'll probably try to take that too eventually, but enjoy the process and definitely get pictures. That's awesome.
Please do. So the sunset is so iconic as it dips below. You have the mountains in the background and being on the golf course, the parking right there. So
and I guarantee you, there's people on here that's going to be getting on a plane and traveling out to Cali. It's cool that you're already there and you don't have to worry about the whole plane travel and stuff. But anybody that goes, send pictures, because this is one of those. Right now, just with the way that the show is operating, I won't be able to go. But I'm going to tell you, I've already told myself, if somehow Atlanta happens, we're not thinking ahead to that. I'm saying if. I've already told myself that's 2 hours away. It's college football play. I'm going. I have to go. But and now just figure out, you know, what I got to
figure it out. We'll get there. Yep.
Yeah, but that's awesome. Definitely send pictures. Kevin Berry, appreciate the $10 super chat. I hate the safe zone defense Kane goes to when ahead late, but I and Alabama fans have to realize is that he is 1,000 miles ahead of most college coaches, let alone a fan. He's a really intelligent guy.
Yeah. I mean, what great perspective, Kevin.
Yeah, it's that's self-awareness, and I'm right there with you. I like to think that I watch a lot of ball and I could talk some ball, but I guarantee if I got a room with Kane Womack, I feel like he'd dance circles around me, and rightfully so. I mean, he's one of the best defensive coordinators in all of college football. He's at the premier program in college football. So, I mean, I understand the thought process behind it. A lot of it is just, hey, let's keep things in front of us. Let's force. Number one, Mateer is the definition of the quarterback that you want to make snap the football again, meaning make him have the long drives. He's bound to make a mistake. If you make him have enough plays, you know, hey, why don't you guys try to go 10, 11 plays, 12 plays on this drive? More than likely, John Mateer is going to do something that screws that up and makes that difficult. And so it's keeping things in front of them. It's rallying. It's tackling. I didn't like the tackling at times tonight. That's one thing.
Yeah, that was one thing, though, I feel like we do need to address because we haven't talked about that yet. The tackling was abysmal at times.
That's going to come some with the way that they emphasize turnovers and they're punching the football. They're not trying to secure sound tackles. That's part of it. But sometimes I feel like that also, if you can come in with some authority, like if there are guys are already around the football, the one thing you don't want to do is when I can't stand when it's like it's a momentum changer in my opinion, where it's like, okay, the guy gets tackled for like a 3-yard run, but then the pile keeps pushing, like that happened against Georgia, and then they end up pushing them for another 5 or 6 yards or a first down or whatever. That gets a crowd super fired up. That's always driven me crazy. And look, in those instances, it's like, stop trying to get the football out and just go bury somebody. Come in there and make sure that momentum stop. I'm getting carried away, but it just that the tackling hadn't been great at times, but that's also part
not
of
all
this
season,
defense.
But at times.
But let's think about this. Special teams overall, Oklahoma won big in the first matchup. Alabama won this time around on special teams.
That's really
shocking.
Crazy. It's shocking.
Jay Nunez, I've been hard on you, and I even have some things that people can pull as far as the I think I said something along the lines of special teams has done absolutely nothing for Alabama this season. And then about that time, they decide, hey, let's let the special teams start helping us out a little bit. Maybe they heard me. Maybe
they did. Hey, here's a quick stat for us. So it's this is from Chris Lowe. Kalen DeBoer is now 20-5 versus nationally ranked teams and FBS head coach. He's 8-3 at Alabama. He's also 4-0 against AP top 10 teams in true road games.
Wow. Which is why we need to be careful with our words, folks. That's why you don't want to have receipts when you can pull out stats like that. And once again, who you going to get? Brent Key? Okay. I mean, I like Brent Key just fine. I like Kurt Janetti if you could get him, but I'm telling you right now, I love Kalen DeBoer. We love Kalen DeBoer, we love this coaching staff. But getting back to what we were talking about, turnovers. Alabama lost that battle the first go around, and they didn't force a ton. But they had the interception, the pick six, massive game-changing play to tie the ball game. You had already started to capture momentum, but that really just now, like Oklahoma's in a spiral for sure. So that was huge. You didn't have you avoided turnovers on offense. That's huge. Hostile environment, the crowd, the defense, the talent, and how many times Ty. And look, this is something else. The fact that Ty got tattooed on multiple occasions, including there was one where he didn't see the sack coming. Yeah. And when I tweeted that out too, I was like, give him a lot of credit for holding on to that football, because at a lot of points this season, he has not held on to that football in that instance. And that would have been a critical moment in that game. So 0 turnovers from the offense, 1 from the defense, but also a punt block. So like what Georgia did to capture some momentum against Alabama in the SEC championship. Obviously, Oklahoma used some big returns and stuff to help out. Alabama's special teams and their defense both did things to help out the offense, and Oklahoma didn't do that. They didn't force turnovers. They didn't have any massive returns. They missed field goals. Everything that they had done to win the football game the first time around, and really what they've built this team around, which is relying way too heavily on their special teams and defense to save their offense. Alabama got those things. Oklahoma didn't. That's big.
I would agree with that. Let's go to the next super chat.
So we're just going to go through some of these chats. Now, granted, if you got anything that you definitely want to be read, I like kind of go, I'm going to bounce back and forth.
Okay.
But definitely, if you want, we will read every super chat. So if you haven't already, definitely get those in. Let's see. There was one that I saw. Tyler Kinney, and he says you can't depend on special teams to keep winning you games. Ty needs to be better, and Ryan needs to be a lot better. Tyler, this is first of all, this wasn't just special teams that helped. The offense did what it needed to do, and the defense did what it needed to do. So it wasn't special teams, and this is the first time that's happened with special teams. Tell me another game with a special teams won you a football game this year for Alabama. It hadn't happened. So, yeah, I mean, I agree, but Alabama's an 11-win team right now, and they've had one that where the special teams has really contributed to that significantly. So I don't agree with the comment. Let's see, 30 yards by Daniel Hill on a counter toss, and we don't attempt anything like that again. Oklahoma over pursues on everything, baffling. This sparked something, and we'll get to this in a second. I thought it was really strange, speaking of special teams, because once again, I'll praise where it deserves to be praised. I'll also criticize where I feel like it deserves to be criticized. It was very strange to me that they punted that football late with like 20 seconds left on the play clock. Like, why are you doing that? There was a lot of people question like Ryan Grubb on it was 3rd down. They throw the football. It was right before the 2-minute warning. Everybody's like, why are you throwing the football there? Well, it was going to be the 2-minute warning. So the clock is stopping regardless if you throw or run. And it was all because they threw it to Ryan, and it was, it could have been, a lot of people were like, it could have been a pick six. And yes, it could have, but it was it should have been a safe throw. It obviously that could have been catastrophic, but if you can get the first down, you try to get the first down. And they knew that Oklahoma was going to be super aggressive. I think they sent extra bodies. If you can get the football out of Ty's hand to avoid that, Ryan catches it. He breaks a tackle. Next thing you know, it's first down and pretty much game over. So I didn't hate that, but like the punt thing, I couldn't think of anything in my mind that would make
justify it.
That was so strange. You're saying that they're the fact they didn't call another counter toss. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to put that on tape a whole lot. I don't know. You got any thoughts on that, EG? I mean, I don't really.
Nothing that no.
But I mean, it did work. Wait, is Tim Keenan injured? Did I miss this?
I don't think so.
Adam, let us know what you're talking about.
Let us know, yeah.
That's interesting. Oh, wow. This is a great point by the way. Offsides Jeff. First of all, they got their own channel. I got a lot of respect for all those guys.
That is a great point.
Yes. Is he the first ever to win a – because all of the home teams – right. Well, I know that –
Or did they won? Well, let me see.
Let me think about that. I know that all the teams that were on a bye week won.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, lost. Sorry. But that was Arizona State. It was Boise State. I know Ohio State beat Tennessee at home in the first round. Penn State won in the first round. They beat no.
Okay, we're getting some feedback on TK. They said that TK and Red are good. Holly Rose said that they were good. He went to the tent but came back into the game.
Okay, good deal. And there was one point in time that I saw Red Morgan down on the field, and I was really concerned. He was in a lot of pain. And then the broadcast never went to him.
Yeah, we cut to the commercial.
And then they came back and it's like I guess he's okay. Like I feel like they would have mentioned that if he wasn't. But so yes, February Stars, ESPN's Holly Rowe reported that his injury is not expected to affect his availability for the Rose Bowl. Fowler added that Keenan could have returned tonight if needed. I mean, I missed the point that happened. I guess maybe that's strange. Appreciate the update though. Like we're all a team here, and so you guys that would be a huge loss for Alabama. Now London Simmons played really well. You can't rely all on London Simmons, but man, that's a cat evaluation by the coaching staff once again coming up big.
You talk about that all the time, Clint. The evaluation, and it's so true. Lottie Brooks is another example of that too.
I will say yes, and Lottie's one I saw it with. That's one that I looked at the recruiting rankings, and I'm like, you guys got it wrong. On 3 didn't. Now known as Rivals, Charles Power does a fantastic job. They had him as I think he actually finished in the top 100, and I thought that's where he needed to be for sure. Everybody else missed. I think there might have been one other one that had him decently high, but everybody else missed. London Simmons, I didn't see it coming. I didn't. I saw a guy who could end up helping and being a part of the rotation in due time, not as a true freshman, not as a summer enrollee, not as a 3-star recruit that I felt like had some limitations. That cat has blown all of my expectations out of the water. I was completely wrong on him. This just tells me there's a reason that I don't have Courtney Morgan's job, because I wouldn't have seen London Simmons, and Alabama wouldn't have a backup nose that could handle every down responsibilities after losing Jeremiah Beeman. So I'd have us up Schitt's Creek, folks. Not Courtney Morgan, though. There's a reason he gets paid the big bucks.
And also that London is a great human as well. I've had an opportunity. We did a walk and talk, and just overall incredible human. And also as a chess player, you guys, I have to share that with everyone. That's my fun fact about London Simmons. He loves playing chess and fishing and hunting.
Yes. It seems like such a great kid. Such a great kid. Is DeBoer still going to Michigan? Is Michigan a vacation destination?
I don't really know. You ever vacated in Michigan? I haven't. Let us know if you vacate in Michigan.
Be the only reason to go.
Might be an off season. I don't know.
Oh, good point, Jay Bura. Is that credit? And he's talking about London Simmons. Is that credit to Freddie Roach? Feel like a lot of people are hard on him. They are hard on him. And this defensive front's been good. And the fact that you lost Jeremiah Beeman, Tim Keenan didn't start the season healthy. LT Overton's been out the last couple of games. Give Freddie Roach a lot of credit. They've continued to have depth and rotation. And while they're not getting like just dominant play necessarily from like an individual, like these massive disruptive plays, they're getting consistent, steady play from a lot of different guys. And when you're getting it from that many players, that's a coaching thing.
Yeah.
They're getting it from a lot of different guys.
I always enjoy my time too, sitting down with Coach Roach, because his mindset about that room, it's a very unique group of personalities from what I've heard, between, guys like James Smith, but then you also have a TK, you have an LT, you have a London Simmons. And so I think that their approach to that room and why they're so successful, it definitely comes down to coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. I saw Nakai Hill Green had the green dot for at least one series. Was that new? I don't know that it was new, because when Deontay Lawson's on the field, someone else is going to have it. So, but what I will say is Nakai Hill Green, that cat's making more plays in space. Man, he gets to the sidelines in a hurry, and he comes with some authority. I love what he's become for Alabama. It was a little bit slow. I wasn't shocked that it was a little bit slow, because it took him a little while to get things going at Colorado. I think just learning a new system, being in a new environment, he's had made a lot of changes. Played for Charlotte, played for Michigan, played at Colorado, played at Alabama. So I mean, he's been around to a lot of different schools and seen a lot of different systems or whatnot. But when he starts getting comfortable and confident, that cat can make some plays. But it's also like this year, the most surprising part has been his ability to make plays in space. Like I just thought he was more of a thumper, a tackle thumper. Thought there was some limitation. He's a pretty good athlete. I knew that, but I just thought from a fluidity standpoint and dropping into coverage and situational awareness and coverage, I thought he was a little limited there. But just, I mean, his ability to be consistent with his run fits, I thought going into the season he was going to be very beneficial for the defense in that sense. But his ability to get out on the perimeter and get out there and make plays in space has been huge for Alabama's defense. So I'm really proud of Nakai and the fact that they had, I mean, Justin Jefferson. First of all, he laid some licks tonight. Yeah. I mean, that one tackle, that's a clinic. I mean,
we heard his name a few times on the broadcast.
Yeah, and he was bringing it. They're getting good play from their linebackers, no doubt about it.
What would you say, Clint, when you kind of 30,000-foot view, biggest offensive takeaway for Bama and biggest defensive takeaway?
Ooh, man. Biggest. I don't want to.
I'm putting on the spot here, but I'm curious. I want like kind of your knee-jerk response.
No turnovers on offense. The fact that you were able to, because things had started to not spiral for the offense, but the fact that they had, I want to say like 5 turnovers. I think like Nick Saban was talking about this on the broadcast. I don't remember the exact numbers, but like 5 of his 6 interceptions or 4 of his 5 interceptions have come in like the last, I think it was 4 of his last 5 or 4 of his 5 interceptions this season have come in his last 3 games. And the offense has been turning the football over a little bit more. Special teams has contributed to that as well, but more so offense. The fact that you went into a very hostile environment once again and you avoided turnovers, that was absolutely huge. That's just something that you don't want. It's the easiest way. We talk about pile, pushers, like, a running back ended up turning out 5 or 6 yards in a pile with, teammates are helping him get yards. Like all that stuff can really get a crowd going, but turnovers and such, those are just, it's infectious. Like it's going to, lightning as far as a crowd is concerned, and being in that type of environment at any point in time, if you would have turned the football over, that place would have went crazy because it was a close enough game where that would have mattered.
Yeah, that would have been a difference maker.
And they avoided, despite a lot of pressure, faced a lot of pressure. And there was some, especially early on, just avoiding turnovers. That's definitely the one for offense for me.
Yeah. What about defense?
Defense, the way that they got after John Mateer from a sack perspective, the way that they limited, it was pretty evident. A lot of us talked about Mateer's legs being a potential problem. Alabama has dealt with struggles against mobile quarterbacks, and the fact that they knew that Mateer was going to get volume and they punished him for it. They made him it's like, if you want to hand your quarterback, there's a reason Ty ain't taking it, ain't getting 19 carries in a football game. He's more mobile than the number of carries that he gets. I don't think he's been 100% healthy. I think that's contributed as far as really being careful with how you use his legs. But it's also sometimes you want to hand your quarterback volume in the run game, and the defense that you're going up against makes them pay for it. And it felt like almost every single time Mateer ran, it was a design quarterback run. They were making him pay for it's like, okay, and you might get 5 or 6 yards, but you're going to catch a hit. and we'll see how long you last and want to do this. And I do feel like he got timid. I really, really do. He was not running with the same authority, even though he was still getting some decent chunks or decent gains. He was not running with the same authority he was earlier in the game. And so I loved that because we all anticipated volume from the quarterback, and I was worried about how that would impact Alabama. Alabama had a great game plan for that going in and really made him pay for it.
So Kane Womack was also made available for media, and Nick Kelly tweeted out one of the quotes, and Coach Womack said, "You don't win those games without great culture."
I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I would 100% agree with that because the problem with the Alabama job and just there is an expectation, and anybody that walks into and tries to fill those shoes, the pressure they're going to deal with on a week in, week out basis, it's different than pretty much anywhere in college football. And the reason I say that is the fan base has reached a point that just no fan base in college football history has ever reached. Georgia might have started to scratch at that a little bit, but no one has ever come close to doing what Nick Saban did at Alabama. So there's this you can't just win football games. Winning's not good enough. You stress me out during this football game. How dare you? Go win by 4 touchdowns where I can coast in the fourth quarter. Because that's what I'm correct. Why this team is unranked? Why are you struggling with them at all? Like it's like at other places winning football games is great. At Alabama, the expectation it's really not. And so just the way that they have learned to it's a lot of pressure. And I just feel like that Kalen DeBoer, the way that he's built this program and this team this year, their ability to respond to adversity, whether it's in game, whether it's you come out of the Florida State game and it's ugly and everybody's dogging you, you immediately respond. Like would I've loved for them to come out and hit Oklahoma in the mouth from the first snap after what happened against Georgia? Would that have made me feel good and better? Yeah, I would have felt great. But the fact that because from a mental standpoint, you struggled, you got your ass kicked for 4 quarters against Georgia. Then you go out there for the first quarter in a very hostile environment against Oklahoma, and it's more of the same. From a doubt standpoint, that's very easy to be like, man, to be honest, guys, we suck right now. We're just not a very good football. I was thinking they're just not a very good football team right now. If this is about 38-7 and your last 5 quarters of football, you've been outscored, that's crazy. And yet that did not affect them. That's so difficult to do, to overcome that mental hurdle. And especially against a team like Oklahoma, who has beaten, he's already beaten Kalen DeBoer twice.
Yeah.
Alabama, even going back to Sugar Bowls and stuff, they've had trouble dealing with, Trevor Knight and some of those guys and Sugar Bowls and everything else. So there's this kind of, I wouldn't say it's like as big of a mental hurdle as it is for Georgia against Alabama, but you have that element of it, and they overcame all of that. And that he's 100% right. You cannot do that without proper culture.
Another quote he had was, "Our players won the game. They won the game with sheer will," and that's from Kane Womack.
So I love that and that might be the expectation. Maybe we're supposed. I don't think so, though. We don't typically get coordinators after playoff games, right?
Well, I don't know because
we'll get them leading up.
Yeah, we had them last week, but I rarely in post game. But that might be a CFP media.
Maybe it's the fact that it's a 12-team thing now.
Yeah, I think it might be. That's something. I think it may be a 12-team thing because I don't necessarily remember that. I remember last time we were at the Rose Bowl, coordinators were made available before the game during media. Kevin Steele was the DC at the time. But having them posting like this, I'm not very familiar with, but I like it a lot, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love getting the raw reaction because a lot of times when you get away from it, like the coordinators they'll have a chance to collect themselves and be more. We get more of the raw emotion, and that's very cool. I can't wait to go back and listen. That's one of my favorite things, getting off the show and immediately going and just hearing those guys. I love it. Iceman, appreciate the $2 super chat. Roll Tide, y'all. Congrats to Coach McCarron, by the way. AJ McCarron is now the Birmingham Stallions head coach. That is so out of left field. It's wild, like that concept to me. But and a lot of people were upset with it because their head coach, he had been doing extremely well. They had been winning a lot of football games. Now they're blowing up roster. They're doing a lot of changes. I get it, but it's also really cool. And I also think there's a side of it that is very. I'm just curious to see how it works. And I think AJ is a great. He has a great football mind. He's obviously been a quarterback, so he's had to be a leader of men. I'll be curious to see what all that looks like. But I understand the concept of why they're doing it, because it instantly made me more interested in the Birmingham Stallions. I was already interested. I already followed them fairly closely, but this took it to a whole new level. I'm curious. In fact, Alabama was playing a college football playoff game, and I was on here on my phone early this morning, and I was looking at like players who might fit as far,
like McCarron as a head coach.
Because he's talking about former Alabama players, former Auburn players, and so I don't know. I might. Oh yeah. I thought Jace McClellan could be one. That's somebody that I listed. I thought Kenyon Drake, being an older guy, I just went ahead and listed him. Kerryon Johnson, don't know what some of these guys, like, they've been out a couple years.
Funny.
Yeah, Jermaine Burton, he just got cut. I mean, what's that cat up to? Let's see what he's up to.
Last time I saw him was at the Rose Bowl, actually. That's funny.
Anthony Schwartz, Seth Williams, Irv Smith. He's been bouncing around. He gets some NFL opportunities. Alex Leatherwood. Tim Smith was a 6th-round pick. I don't think he's on an NFL roster or a practice squad. Rashaan Evans.
There's options.
There's 100% options. Yeah. So I'm not trying to get too far down, but my point is that because AJ McCarron is the head coach and just he made those comments, I had enough interest to actually go look and see who are some former who might we see. So it's pretty cool. Appreciate you bringing that up, Iceman. Brandon from DC. Appreciate the $4.99 super chat. 1, no one will pick us to beat Indiana. Underdog mentality all the way. 2, linebackers must get more depth on their zone drops, or Indiana could gut us up the middle. That's a fair point, and that's something definitely to look at. That I'll be looking at for sure as we start to dive into the film, and that was evident tonight. I mean,
there were times that OU took advantage of that.
Yeah, 100%. So that's a great point, Brandon. I'm really looking forward to looking into that.
Yeah, and we're gonna have it all for you guys. Like we're gonna have a packed week. We have 13 days? I want to say 13 days.
Yeah, well, it's the 20th now.
Oh,
yeah, we're past midnight. So
past midnight.
Yeah, we've been going for close to 2 hours, and we got still over 600 people in here. I love you guys.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we really do love you guys, and we're happy that you're spending your evening. I saw someone was in London, and it's 6 a.m. their time, and they're still up. Quite a late game. I know.
That is awesome. Rod E-Man, I love the underdog mentality. I do too. It's not something that we've seen a whole lot. Got it from Alabama, and it's kind of cool to see how they play with that chip on their shoulder.
Yeah,
for sure. Let's see. Keon Keeley is a hungry man. Yes, he is. I just love. I'm not gonna lie. When I realized he was playing a lot of snaps, because on the first touchdown, Mateer, when he ran it in, Jordan Renaud got blown off the football, and it created obviously the missed tackle. I think it was it Keon Sat or Xavier Brown. Someone missed a tackle on Mateer for sure. He juked somebody, but I was more concerned with Renaud on that play. And then after that, I started seeing a lot of Keon Keeley, a lot. We'd already seen him a little bit, but I'm looking at that. I'm saying, this is a guy who I love how he's progressing. I still love what he could end up being for Alabama, but he's been situationally used, and it has not been in early down situations. So when I see him being asked to handle early down situations and not just, the occasional drive, it's like consistently, I'm not going to lie. I looked at that and I was kind of concerned. I was curious. There was curiosity there. Like, I wonder how he'll hold up, but I was also somewhat concerned. I mean, I don't think he was perfect. There's going to be things that I'm sure that I don't like on tape, but when I was watching him, I have to go back and look at the whole performance, but the times that I was able to watch him, and not just when he got sacked and drops in the coverage, but there was a couple snaps where I specifically watched him. I was like, man, he's actually holding up pretty well. And that was really encouraging, because we are all like, LT Overton is out right now. Don't know what's going to happen with him in the next 12 or 13 days, but not only is it an immediate thing, but also I'm curious what 2026 looks like at Bandit, because you're definitely not going to have Overton.
Yeah.
So seeing Renaud make some strides and Keon Keeley making some strides, that makes me feel a little bit better about that. So yeah, he's a hungry man, and he earned all of his stuff today for sure. Rod E-Man, appreciate the $4.99 super chat. Is Oklahoma the hardest defense you think we will face? I think in that environment.
In that
environment, I mean, when you got the home crowd at your back, because I mean, Alabama, Jim Dunaway, for the next round, earlier today, he kind of tweeted talking about the crowd, or excuse me, the number of Bama fans, like there wasn't a loaded up flight on the one that he was on, and he was kind of worried about how many Bama fans would travel, and I don't think that was an unfair observation. No. I don't know how it ended up looking, but
it'd be hard to tell too with the colors.
Yeah, very, very difficult. I don't know if there's any way that you could really tell, but what I'm saying is that it was as lopsided as it could possibly have been for Alabama. And so moving forward, it's not like maybe they end up playing a harder defense from but Oklahoma's so definitely good up there, and that combination of defense and home field advantage with that hostility. Yeah, I think that's about the toughest you're going to see. And they held up pretty well. There might be another defense that matches up better against Alabama.
But you're not going to have that added element. You're not going to have that added hostility. And again, I do think that we should extend the home playoff games, because, I mean, it looks so sick. What are your thoughts on that? No?
Oh, no. I mean, granted, for this particular, like, I would much rather play Indiana at the Rose Bowl up there. But, yes, I agree. When they were showing the crowd and stuff, it was so wild, because before the game, I think earlier this week, I actually, in some ways, compared this game to the 2021 SEC championship game. And what I meant by that was Alabama, and it was more so through injury, was limited. They weren't expecting to have much of a run game because their entire running back room was injured, and Brian Robinson ended up being able to play. They weren't sure if he'd be able to, and he did actually perform a little bit better than we were anticipating going in. But going against that Georgia defense that was historically good, I'm like, they're not going to be able to run the football at all. It's not going to happen. And it was like that on top of just Alabama was coming off a terrible performance against Auburn in the Iron Bowl for that SEC championship. And Alabama was coming off a terrible performance in the SEC championship against Georgia for this game. And just that caused all sort of doubt. Even me, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, if I'm being completely objective, would I really actually choose Alabama to win this game? And I did come to the conclusion that I would, but I was really trying to step out of the fan side of it and say, honestly, how do I feel about this? If you remove the logos, actually look at how things match up, how would you feel? And so that and that's the only other time that I can remember really truly feeling that way, where it's like I was questioning whether I would actually pick Alabama. And then also, that just how things worked out as far as the crowd hostility and things like that, the atmosphere. I remember being in Mercedes-Benz Stadium before that SEC championship, and I came down from the press box and I walked around the stadium, and the electricity in there was insane. And it was Georgia fans. They were doing the dog call or whatever it is they do. And I remember kind of being concerned, like, man, this fan base is hungry. They taste blood in the water. Yeah. And I was kind of concerned about that when they were showing Oklahoma fans and stuff right before the game, and you could just hear it on the television and stuff. I was like, man, that place wants this bad. That's going to be a very, very hostile environment. That's cool as hell that Alabama did as well as it did.
I was about to say.
So, I mean, I'm happy, but it was very great. I'll give Oklahoma fans credit. I'll give Alabama credit for shutting them up fairly quickly after the first quarter, but I'll give that crowd credit because they brought it at the beginning.
They did. You could tell the laser show. I will say they were great hosts. I mean, I think that you couldn't really ask for more for a first round. In the first game tomorrow, you guys, no game is going to even come close to what we witnessed tonight. I'm just going to go and call it. There's no way that it gets better than what we saw tonight.
I also want to point out, guys, that's first of all, great point. We get a whole day of college football playoff games tomorrow, and we get to know Bama's already in the next round. feels amazing. I'm going to enjoy tomorrow. There's no,
yeah.
I'm not saying there's no pressure, but I'm saying like, it's like, man, that's a weight off of all of our shoulders.
We're done. Like
We're done. We're moving
done.
on, and then we'll start worrying about that come Sunday. But tomorrow, man, it's a lot of people were having their Christmas parties and family get-togethers the Saturday before Christmas, and we get to watch some college football playoff games and enjoy the fact that Alabama's going to be there. And they also get an extra day to prepare for Indiana. We aren't talking about that. It was weird that they had to play on Friday. Alabama has not played a Friday game since the 2009 Iron Bowl. It was weird all week. Guys, I almost got in trouble because my mom's birthday is December 17th. And in my head, I kept saying Alabama's playing on the 19th, but even though I knew it was Friday, my brain kept saying Alabama plays on Saturdays. Alabama plays on the 19th. Saturday is the 19th. Oh, Friday was the 19th. So Wednesday was my mom's birthday, and I came dangerously close to getting in a lot of trouble for that. The fact they get the extra day, now that's huge from a rest standpoint.
This week, you guys. Well, sorry, Clint, did not mean to interrupt you there.
But all good.
My days have been so mixed up. Like, it does not feel like a Friday to me. Like, my brain has not comprehended that yet. And all week long, I've been a day ahead or a day behind. And it was so funny because when we saw Coach DeBoer on Monday, I guess, he's like, it's going to be really hard to convince me that today isn't Tuesday. Like, today is Tuesday for us. And then I took that mentality.
Yes.
And now it's only Friday, and we have a whole day of college football tomorrow that we get to enjoy off the clock.
It's gonna be so much fun. And all of those games matter because you don't know if Alabama can get past Indiana. You don't know exactly who Alabama will end up seeing down the line. So they all matter. They all are potential opponents. We can assume that probably, you're watching Tulane, Ole Miss, assuming that Ole Miss could be I'm gonna be if Tulane ends up upsetting them, someone's gonna find this clip, and I'm gonna really, after I've been telling everybody to avoid receipts, I'm gonna hand them a pretty big one. But anyways, appreciate everybody for being here. 545 people, and it's almost 1 a.m. And what was it? Lance Hunter said, "Let's pull an all-nighter, hit Duncan at 5 a.m." I got to be honest.
Love you guys.
I have talked with Jimmy before. Him and I've kicked around this idea of like a 24-hour
stream
live show. Yes, and we've talked about it for years. I guarantee you I could do it. Like we'd have to give each other some time off. Like, hey, why don't you take like an hour, go catch a nap real quick. But tonight is not that night.
Tonight's not the night.
Now that I'm starting to come down a little bit with the adrenaline, I'm crashing pretty hard right now.
Yeah, we're going on 2 hours, and we want to thank you guys for being a part of all of it because we've had so much fun doing this. We want to thank you guys for being involved in the chat. That makes our jobs easier. And like we said, whole day of college football. So predictions for tomorrow are already coming in. Tag us in things. We want to see what your thoughts are. And I'm excited to see where the next phase of this goes. And we're going to have coverage for you guys every step of the way. So, we'll get the media schedule here pretty soon, and we'll see what the availability is like. But also, Merry Christmas. Goodness gracious. It's almost Christmas.
It is. And we're going to have a lot of shows before Christmas. So we'll have plenty of opportunity. But yes, it is the holiday season. So we're going to say as much as possible. I don't like that Christmas is going to be so warm, though. That's concerning me. I want cold. Give me snow.
No, give me
it's
warm.
Christmas, EG. It's Christmas. You can give us a couple of days.
Like a palm tree.
Heck no. You're out of, oh my goodness.
I know. I'm sorry.
No serfdom. Says those are some badass drapes Clint has behind him. Yeah. First of all, I'm so glad EG's on here because last time I was here during Thanksgiving and I did the Iron Bowl here, my senior portrait. My senior portrait's over. Yeah, it's on the wall. This is like, yeah, and it was. I thought I made it through the whole stream without anybody noticing, and then one person was like, "I'm pretty sure that's Clint in the background," and it was very awkward. So I'm glad you're here where that's cut out.
That's funny.
Exactly. Yeah, can enjoy the game Saturday easy like Sunday morning.
I love that.
Love that. We appreciate all you guys for being here.
Yep.
This has been a lot of fun. I'm trying to read through some of these. Make sure I don't have any missed. Yeah, I got all the super chats. Guys, this was so much fun. close to 2 hours. I do feel like from talking about it standpoint, we could go till 5 a.m. No problem.
We really could, because, and also once we like get all of media back and once we see, we can look at plays again, we probably could, but we have to leave you guys wanting more. That's part of the psyche. We got to leave you guys with wanting more of us.
Absolutely. And JR Morris, I noticed you have your Rowback hoodie on. Their stuff is so nice. Yes, it is. Yeah, I absolutely love it. Great segue there. Get on over to rowback.com. Use the promo code Crimson20. Get 20% off your order. Save yourself some money. Get get the best absolute gear that money can buy, in my opinion, as far as clothing. It's comfortable. It's warm. Somehow, my wife has started stealing my Rowback hoodies.
Get her some Rowback, Clint.
I think it's the fact she absolutely loves it. It's super comfortable, but I think it's the fact that it's mine and I want to wear it myself. There's something about that from like a girlfriend, wife, fiance perspective, where you guys just want to take all of our best stuff. My most comfortable, like my Athens high school football shirt that I used to wear every day for years. It's super broken in. It's super comfortable. Somehow that's come up missing. And the reason it's missing is because it's with her stuff. All of my favorite things she ends up getting. And I've told her, I'm like, look, every once in a while you can wear one of these Rowback hoodies. Every once in a while. Yeah. But I gotta have, it fits well. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. You guys would love it too. And EG, you've got plenty of the women's apparel.
Yes, the women's apparel. Listen, if you need actual collegiate gear, so if you want Bama gear that is collegiately licensed, then Rowback has that. So if you need to go ahead and get your Rose Bowl attire, look no further. And then for the girls, they have really cute sets. They have quarter zips. They have tennis skirts, athletic dresses, basically everything under the sun. So with that being said, use our code COVER20 or Crimson20 to get 20% off your order. And I don't think it'll be here in time for Christmas, but that's okay because you need an after Christmas gift and you need a Rose Bowl gift.
That's right. It's 100% right. JR, I'm not going to, yes, I will get more. And now my sister-in-law saying she wants something. It's like, well, I guess I'm just buying all Rowback. Just everybody's going to get the same exact gifts, but I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed. Jeremy, real quick, 2 late hits on Ty. One of them helmet to helmet, no calls. Was extremely disappointed in that. The helmet to helmet was crazy. They only showed the replay once, and I was like, that's as about as egregious as it gets.
Yeah.
They missed stuff on Alabama. There was a false start on Wilkin Formby, but this is one of those games where Oklahoma can't blame this on the refs because they totally whiffed on some calls in favor of the Sooners. But anyways, just wanted to address that. Thought that was a good point. Once again, EG, appreciate you hopping on here with me. This has been a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody who has commented. This is what we do this for. We'll hop on and we'll do the ugly ones. We'll talk about Alabama getting destroyed by Georgia after the SEC championship. We'll do it. It's not fun, but this is the stuff you live for. So I'm very happy that we were able to do this. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we will talk to you guys soon.